Hello, my name is BrandonBaer. I'm a first year architecture student at Cal Poly, and this is a video about the religious diversity in my life. This project was difficult because I had to really sit down and think, do I have any religious experience? I'm not religious whatsoever. I've had next to no experience with religion until I took this class. I fully support any religion and encourage the amazing diversity in traditions and religions around me and around the world. However, none of them have impacted me throughout my life, so I tend to ignore it being so close to home. For most of my childhood, I grew up in Sin City, the fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Because I grew up in Las Vegas, most people who have visited would say that I must have experienced tons of diversity day in and day out. Vegas is a tourist attraction full of people from every culture and religion and race. But no one lives on the Las Vegas Strip, which is where most people would cite their evidence for this statement. I couldn't agree more that the Strip is mesmerizing because all the lights and the diversity and liveliness. From day to night, Las Vegas Boulevard is buzzing with excitement. The crowds on the Las Vegas Strip were something else, almost out of a movie, like I was watching The Hangover. People of every culture, every background, no one looked alike. But of course, I did not live on the Strip, and the diversity where I lived was night and day compared to it. I grew up about a 5-minute drive from Mandalay Bay, the entrance to the Strip, where the diversity of religion almost vanishes. In total, I believe we had 2 Mormon churches, which is all I could say was included in our religious diversity. Kids in my schools had no primary religions that they had expressed openly at school, and none of my close friends did either, so I had never experienced religious diversity as a child. I did, however, meet my childhood best friend at around 9 years old. He and his family were traditional Mormons, and when they moved to Vegas from Salt Lake, I thought I had met my best friend for life. While my parents went through divorcing struggles, my mom decided to take us kids with my friend's family to church. This was the smallest ounce of religious practice I had to this date. I attended church irregularly for about 6 months. I was always making excuses to stay home because I did not want to go. I felt so out of place in that Mormon church, where all my peers were devout followers since birth. It was hard for me to understand and relate to these imaginary figures and stories, not to degrade any religions. It was like a whole new world of fairy tales that I was so unfamiliar with, and I couldn't quite understand. My parents went through with the divorce. My mom obtained custody of us kids, and she moved us to Southern California, where she could continue her career in the film industry. We moved to Valencia, where Magic Mountain is, and quite a magical town it was. It is a very white conservative town with similarities to Las Vegas life, although it's a city close enough to the wild diversity found further south. With my mom in the film industry, I got to experience LA and Hollywood's grand diversity that floods the streets. It was an amazing sight to see, and it was kind of frightening at first because it was so different. I definitely can't deny the fact that I was very opinionated, and so was my family, on these other cultures and religions, and I did judge them based on their looks and how I was raised. I remember thinking to myself, who are all these weirdos? I think the people are just as diverse as the land itself, and as I have expanded my experiences of California and its beauty, I realize that there is beauty in the diversity of the people here as well. It is fascinating to see so many different people interacting with one another, when before all I've heard was hate coming from the news. I could tell that I was looking at this variety of people very differently, and I had convinced myself that they were looking at me strangely too. But on my path to more understanding, I realized that I was wrong. Ever since I moved to California, I've forced myself to be open-minded, and I've tried to clear myself of the prejudices I've received from my past experiences and from my family. I like to think of my story as a metaphor for the way that younger generations have grown more accepting of people of every race, culture, and religion. This religion class has been special to me because it's really encouraged me to see the world differently and understand the tolerance for all that should be widespread. I understand the principles of religions we talked about in class. This class was a step I wanted to take as I continue to grow away from my previous state of mind and start to expand my understanding. There is no place more special to learn about religious diversity and tolerance firsthand than California. I've been fortunate enough to get out of Las Vegas and experience much of SoCal and Central California. I've been able to grow as a person in my understanding, which I am grateful for because not many other kids where I'm from will get to. I'm super grateful for my experience in this class and in my life as well.